Hello, and welcome to Handled-ish, Productivity for the Imperfect, a weekly podcast for those who want to elevate their productivity but are not looking for perfection. I'm your host, Betsy Hayes, and I am so happy you're here with me in podcast land or on YouTube. This is episode 58, Spring Cleaning for Your Brain. So it's early March when I'm recording this, and where I live, we've had some gorgeous weather of late, actually a little bit unseasonably warm, and it really, makes me think about spring and think about change in wardrobe and, we're going to have the time change soon. So we're going to be able to be, outside more later with daylight and all the things. Spring is coming, right? And so I got to thinking about that from the perspective of clutter, because a lot of times people love to do spring cleaning, right? It's just a really great time to clean out your garage because it's not freezing or 1,000 degrees. It just feels good to sort of emerge from the winter and sort of purge some of the unnecessary things. And that's why spring cleaning is a thing. And I got to thinking that perhaps we might want to do the same thing with our brain. And maybe our to-do list, right? So what that could potentially mean, and I have not ever officially done spring cleaning for my brain, although I'm very much looking forward to doing it over the next week or so. But the idea is to, really pay attention to the things we are thinking about. And if you want to, really structure spring cleaning for your brain, like you would maybe structure it for your home, right? Room by room. I'm not going to say brain center by brain center because I am not a neurologist, but if you want to think about the types of things that you think about, that might be a way to organize this spring cleaning for your brain. So, for example, you could think about, how you are feeling about your job, right? And some of the things that you are thinking about, and some of the things that perhaps are bothering you, and problems sort of nagging problems that you have just sort of put up with, opportunities that you haven't really pursued. And just do an evaluation. Is this, this is an opportunity that's perhaps been sort of nagging me. Is this something I want to pursue? And if it is, pursue it. And if it's not, like the junk in your garage, just let it go, right? And same thing with the things that have been bothering you, that you've been just sort of putting up with, and I'll deal with it later, and those sorts of things. Just take an honest look at it. Is this something that I really should do something about? Or is this something that I just need to let go? And if it's something that you need to let go, let's just go ahead and let it go so it doesn't take up space in your brain that can be used for much more fun and useful things. And if it is, something that you do want to do something about, then let's just do it, right? Instead of just letting it sort of linger there. I'm actually really loving this garage analogy because you know how there's stuff out there that we're like, I'll deal with it later. And we also know how wonderful it is to when we deal with it. Let's do the same thing with all of the stuff that's sort of hanging out in the garage of our brain, and either get rid of it or do something about it. So yeah, you can do that with work. You can do that, with your personal life, right? You can, category of, family. Is there, someone that you've really been wanting to see? Well, now's the time to start making those plans for spring and summer to see those folks, and, put it on the calendar. It's something that you've been continually wanting to do. Let's go ahead and do it. And again, when you sit down and evaluate it intentionally, if you're like, I could probably maybe put that, in a fall or winter 2025 thinking bucket, or maybe that's something I want to think about in 2026, getting together with that person. But the point is to not have it just sort of hanging around in your head, taking up space that could be used for other things. Make a decision, right? Schedule time to be with them or don't. And if you want to eventually, put it in a different bucket, if you're like, hey, if it happens, it happens. let that responsibility go as far as getting together with them. Is there a, you know, I don't know, is there a issue in one of your relationships that, again, has you've just been sort of thinking, oh, I'll deal with it, I should deal with it, etc. Maybe it's a hard conversation that you need to have, or maybe it's a good conversation that you need to have, but for whatever reason, you've just been sort of stuck in the winter of this thought. And, now that the sun is shining, let's either do it or not, right? If you feel you should have the difficult conversation and it's something you should do, let's do it. If you need help and what the language needs to be, that's why friends and therapists and those types of folks are so helpful, right? To kind of maybe role play or work on a script, or sometimes it's helpful to write it down, anticipate what maybe some of the feedback you're going to get from the other person might be, and what you might say there, and how what you want for the goal of that conversation. Um, and because I think that's really important when we have a difficult conversation, because obviously there's a lot of emotion tied to it, but trying to figure out, okay, what is the goal? And usually, if it's a relationship we want to keep, the goal is to get the situation sorted and maybe feel more connected. Because when there's an issue, typically we feel less connected. So, how can that be the goal, versus just expressing dissatisfaction or anger, or just trying to be right? Those things don't typically lead to better connection. So, what's the goal of that conversation, and try to figure out, backwards from there, how you can go ahead and do it. So, again, it's not nagging you. It's not sitting there in your mental garage going, help, deal with me, deal with me, deal with me. And if there's a positive conversation, that you want to have with someone, to tell them how much they really care about you, or excuse me, how much you really care about them, or, that you've just been so grateful and you just, haven't had the opportunity to share it. Or maybe it's someone, you want to take the relationship to the next level, right? But you've just been a little bit concerned about that. But again, it's in your garage of your mind, right? Deal with me, deal with me. Let's either deal with it or not. And you can also, do that obviously with your house, right? Things that you have been sort of like, I should do this, I should do this. Again, choose not to do it, let it go. Choose to do it, or choose to reschedule it, right? Let's just kind of have those be the three paths for all of the clutter in your brain. And I really think that we're just all going to feel a lot better because of it. Your home, your health, right? If there are things that you were like, I really want to do this, evaluate whether that's really true. Because a lot of times we give lip service to things, and when we really analyze it, it's like, yeah, no, no, I'm not going to be a bodybuilder. It's definitely for me. Um, I'm a firm believer in exercise, but triathlons, bodybuilding, even if I think those do sound very interesting, and I'm sure that the lifestyle attached to that will be really exciting. Yeah, nope, it's just something that if that were in my brain, I would definitely need to let go. And I know we have a lot of those. If you've been going, wow, I really should meal prep, for example. It's really something I want to do. And again, you've just been sort of stuck in the winter of your thinking, let's spring clean that puppy, right? Let's just get it out and do it, test drive it. If it's something that really does work for you, great. If it doesn't, you can go back to, spontaneously, having meals. But let's just not have it be there going, pay attention, do me, figure me out, blah, blah, blah. Let's not have that happen. So I think you get the idea. So a challenge for this week is to, maybe think about maybe one useful exercise would be to think about the categories of your life that you do have, things in the garage. of your brain about, right? Things that have been, you've sort of been waiting to do or postponing to do. And maybe again, you're stuck in the winter of your head. And, let's take this, sort of wonderful energy that comes with spring, right? The flowers, the cleanness, the green, things are emerging from the, hibernation of winter. Typically, we as people have a little more energy. Again, I know a lot of that comes from the sunshine. It comes from the daylight savings, all of that. Let's take advantage of that, and again, evaluate some of the things that have been sort of nagging at us during the winter. And I'm a huge fan of not doing all those things that have been nagging us. Really sit down and think about whether that's actually something you want to do. Because I know for me, there's some clutter up there that when I really take a look at it, I know I'm not going to choose to do it. So let's just get it out of there. Let's just get rid of that mental clutter and move on to the things that we truly have decided that we want to do. And if that list is too long, let's, reschedule that for a different chunk of time. Maybe it's literally a different season. You really think that might be a wonderful fall activity or winter, or again, maybe that's a 2026 puppy to deal with, right? But I think that release of that mental clutter is going to be just as satisfying, if not more satisfying than spring cleaning our garage. Although I am also planning on doing that as well. One of the things that's in my garage is a bunch of electronic recycling. That's something that has been one of those deal with me things from my perspective. And I went as far as to research, who can come pick up electronic recycling in my area. And it turns out that if you have 2 items, it's a very large amount. But if you have 3 or more items, they will come get it for free. And so I thought, holy cow, I'm sure that other people in my life will have electronic recycling. So I texted a couple friends and they're like, yeah, I got an extra computer or TV or whatever. And I have, as of yesterday, have all of those things from my friends in my garage. So now my electronic recycling pile is actually lots larger, which is wonderful. I really feel good about doing that. Both is a nice thing for a couple of my friends, and also, disposing of it in the right way, right, in order to be more environmentally friendly. So I'm really excited to text the electronic recyclers this week and figure out a time that they can come and pick that up. And then not only will that be a mental clutter, I got to get rid of the electronic recycling, right? It's been weighing on me. It can also be physically release of clutter, because then that part of my garage, can stay empty. I can do something else with it. The possibilities are endless with that section of the garage. So that's actually, I guess, an example of both mental and physical clutter, which I know we have a lot of those as well. So I'm curious if anyone's ever thought of spring cleaning for your brain. Is that something you do? How do you do it? What's your process? How does it feel? All the things. Let me know. My website, Betsy A. Hayes, my website is betsyahays.com. Hayes, of course, is Hays. Social media at Betsy Hayes on everything. And yeah, looking forward to having more conversations about spring cleaning for your brain if anybody wants to talk about that. So have a fabulous week. I so look forward to connecting with you again next week on another episode of Handled-ish, Productivity for the Imperfect. Until then, take care and please be kind to yourself, whether you have a lot of spring cleaning to do in your brain or not, because I promise that you are doing way better than you think you are. Trust me.